Today's episode is brought to you by Audible.com. Go over and get you a free audiobook 30-day free trial over at www.audibletrial.com/nerdcave. You can be picking up Timothy Zahn's new book, Thrawn. It's freaking awesome. Or you can get Ahsoka. You can get all these Star Wars books because everybody loves Star Wars. If you don't love Star Wars, what are you doing with your life? There's over 180,000 titles, though, to choose from. You can get it on your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle. And if you have an MP3 player and what are you doing with your life, you can get that there as well. So go over to audibletrial.com/nerdcave and grab you one of those new books. Get smart. We read at the Nerd Cave. We read. Build it beautiful.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nerd Cave podcast. I am one of your hosts, Derek Diamond, joined along with...
And I'm Robbie Rawls.
Robbie, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. A little sore. We had a rather eventful weekend, which is why why Zach's not here today. Zach had a pretty big day. He got married yesterday to Amy Irby, so
congratulations to both of you, yes.
You are currently heading to Vancouver. So, I hope you enjoy your day, eh?
Game on, eh?
Eh?
No, it was cool. We both got to be groomsmen in his wedding. And for me, it was a little different because I'm so used to filming weddings as opposed to actually being in them. So it was a little bit of a different take for me. That was only, I think, the third wedding that I've been in. So it's something over there falls, but that's okay.
It's all good.
So how was it for you?
It was definitely fun. As we talked about a little off the air, my lower back and my knee hurts. Because the groove kept coming and I just didn't stop it. I told him I felt like Kevin Bacon in Footloose. I danced the night away.
Don't you never hide your... That's my favorite scene from Footloose. When he dances in the warehouse.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
stuff.
Scene.
Yeah.
I was waiting to see if there was like something I could pull from the ceiling to have waterfall on me. Like,
Maniac.
But, no, I mean, it was a lot of fun. A lot of dancing. The guy who was DJing did something that no DJ should ever do, and that's play the electric slide and the cha-cha slide back to back.
He did. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. As DJ Rob Dog, I play one of those songs for when I need a bathroom break, because one song is long enough to cover.
Yeah.
But when you play a 6.5 minute song followed by a 5.5 to 5:45. It's just too much dancing for anybody.
It's what we call a rookie move.
Yeah, and he ended up playing the electric slide twice. And of course,
he played in some other songs twice too.
Yeah, I mean, I know they didn't have a lot to go with, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even though I was half dead on the second electric slide, I still went out there and boogied.
You did. And we got to see David Sunday, Derek Daniel, who were fans of the podcast. So
yep.
Always nice
Derek
seeing
Sunday was very nice to see them.
Derek Sunday and David Daniel.
Yep.
Their fusions. But no, it was a lot of fun. And Zach, hopefully you're watching. So congratulations to both you and Amy.
Yep.
Enjoy Canada. Say hey to Nick if you run into him there.
Yeah, because he's Canadian.
He is the pride of Canada. So we had some pretty big news happen this past week. So first thing, Star Wars. They've been filming the Han Solo spinoff film, which I've mentioned on this podcast. I'm not as into this one as I am the other ones.
I love his story, but I just don't know how I feel about this one. Adding Woody Harrelson in it has helped me a lot to try to get more behind this. It looks great. We just picked up a really good director in Ron Howard. He's done a lot of really good things. He did the Da Vinci Code, the Angels and Demons, the second part of that. He's acted in a lot of things.
Richie Cunningham from Happy Days.
So, I feel like this is the director that we need, that we needed for this, to kind of breathe some fresh air into it and kind of see where we're going to go. It's Star Wars, so it's going to get a lot of people to come see it. I mean, that's I mean, that's why I'm going to go see it in theaters. So, I mean, we'll just have to see how it does.
The interesting thing was Ron Howard is the new director. It was previously being directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. And the interesting thing was, according to this article from Comic Book Movie, with only a few weeks of filming left and reshoots planned shortly thereafter, the directing duo of Phil Lord and Chris Miller departed the Han Solo origin film, stunning Star Wars fans around the world. It was quickly revealed that Lord and Miller were actually fired over the dreaded Hollywood creative differences. However, it's almost universally agreed that the timing of the announcement was very strange. If things between the Lego movie directors and Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy were as bad as reported, how did Lord and Miller ever get the job in the first place?
Creative differences, you never know which one was right or which one was wrong because they never really go into detail. They just say creative differences. But I'm on the side of whoever wanted to, do the best thing for Star Wars. So
yeah.
I don't know which side I'm on, but whoever's side that's on, that's mine.
From what I've been reading, I think they had in mind like a buddy cop type movie. And I don't necessarily know that works for Star Wars.
I don't think it does at all.
And let's face it, if you're going to direct a Star Wars movie, I think there is a certain amount of creative freedom because Rian Johnson, who's directing The Last Jedi, has done interviews saying that he actually had a good bit of leeway with what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, and I didn't know this until I was reading an article the other day. When R2 wakes up at the end of Force Awakens, that was actually a request from Rian Johnson so that R2 would go with Rey to Octo to find Luke. So apparently R2 might have a pretty big part, which R2 is my second favorite Star Wars character next to Obi-Wan. So.
Of course, mine's Qui-Gon, but I mean...
There's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish. But no, I think R2 having a bigger role in this next movie is going to be awesome. I'm excited for the Star Wars universe right now because, we're getting great books, great games, and great movies. I feel like I'm back in the 90s and early 2000s again.
Do you think with this directing change, because they're obviously going to go back and change some things, do you think the movie maybe gets pushed back a bit? Because it's supposed to come out in the summer of 2018. Now, me personally, I was against it at first, but I like the Star Wars movies coming out in December because Disney owns Marvel. Marvel movies usually come out during the summer and the fall. Why not dedicate December to Star Wars?
I always think they're like when they do like bring it out in the summer, they're like, well, we had the fallback of it being a December release and people seem to be okay with it. So I think it gives them some leeway, but I really don't think it's going to change because all they really needed to do was go back there, do some reshoots and finish up a last little bit of filming, which, I'm not on a set of like a multi-billion-dollar film, so I don't know how long a reshoot would take for them, but I feel like it's not going to take them, a whole year from now to be able to get that done.
True. I just wonder if they're going to go back and change things to change the tone of the film. Like maybe cut some things out, add some things in. Who knows?
I kind of look at it like Suicide Squad because, once the Batman and Superman had such negative reaction to it being dark, they were able to go into Suicide Squad and they had some reshooting that they had to do, but they also went back and changed some stuff to add some more comic relief into it, and it's still released on time.
Yeah.
So I have hope that they're going to release it on time, but, if it does get pushed to December, everybody still seems to be okay with it, so, I'm good with it.
Well, it's my thing with December is you have kids who are on Christmas break.
Yep.
Most businesses aren't as busy around Christmas if you're not retail.
Yeah.
You have more time to go to the theater. I went and saw, Rogue One multiple times because I was on break. Same thing with Force Awakens. I was on break for 2 weeks, so I got to go see it multiple times. You could do the same thing in the summer, but I don't know. I kind of like the whole December thing.
It works.
When it comes down to it, it doesn't really matter because if it's in May or August or even in January, I'm still going to go see it because it's a Star Wars movie.
Definitely.
With Ron Howard coming on, I have a little bit of a higher hope for it. I think he is a very safe choice.
Very safe.
So we'll just have to see. I want to see a trailer for this because we've been hearing so much about it, but we haven't seen anything other than, a few set photos.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see how this kid does as Han Solo. I think Donald Glover is going to be great as Lando.
I agree.
But to me, the guy who's playing Han, and his name escapes me right now, but
I know.
He's the wild card in this whole thing.
That's going to make or break this movie for me because he's kind of an unknown when it comes to Star Wars. So we're just going to have to kind of see what he does and how he, portrays. Because, he's starting as a young one, so he can kind of, I feel like he can do what he wants to with the character and have it slowly evolve to the Han that we know and love today.
We shall see. Yeah. I know they want to turn it into a trilogy.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to see how this one does.
We will.
Let's move on to the story that I have been excited for the most to talk about.
What would that be?
We grew up in the 90s.
We did.
We loved ourselves some 90s Nickelodeon.
Definitely.
Now, I don't know about you, but my favorite cartoon from Nickelodeon was Rocko's Modern Life.
I still remember one of my favorite episodes was when it was like just ungodly hot and they were trying to go and find places where they could cool off. Rocko was just one of those great shows that you had adult themed things, but it was so like it was hard for kids to pick up on it. Like watching it now, you're just like,
there's so much innuendo.
Oh wow. But as kids, you didn't notice it. And I like shows like that to where the parents can get something out of it and the kids can get something out of it.
Well, adults can relate to it as well because it's basically Rocko and these other characters adjusting to life.
Yeah.
So there's actually some very smart writing and very smart plot lines.
Yeah.
There's some very crude stuff in there too.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a very, very good show.
Speaking of plot lines, Derek, tell us what this one's going to
So this has been known for a while that Rocko is coming back with a one-off TV movie in 2018. Well, the title and the plot line have been released, and this is from entertainmentweekly.com. The original voice cast members who brought Rocko, Heifer, Filbert, and the rest of O-Town to life will reunite for Nickelodeon's forthcoming one-hour TV special, Rocko's Modern Life, Static Cling. And it's EW.com, by the way, not Entertainment Weekly. The one-off TV reboot will premiere on Nickelodeon in 2018, written and executive produced by series creator Joe Murray. Reprising their roles, I'll be really quick with these, are Carlos Alazraqui, former Derek Diamond Experience guest, as Rocko, Spunky, and Leon the Chameleon. The original voice of Heifer, Filbert, the Big Heads, Heifer's parents, all in all, and a couple of new people have joined as well. According to Nickelodeon, the TV special brings the characters back to Earth after being lost in outer space since 1996. Rocko has trouble accepting this 21st century modern life, while Heifer and Filbert embrace every aspect of new technology, social media, and the endless diversity of food trucks. Rocko wholeheartedly believes that his nostalgia for the past can save him from the tortures of the modern world. Genius.
Because it ended in 96. Mm-hmm. So, it's simple, but it is beautiful. Because you really don't have to do much with trying to figure out, all right, how do we bring them back? Outer space? Hey, it works.
It's something that would happen in the show.
Yeah. You wouldn't, watching it, you would not even bat an eyelash if they got in a rocket and flew to space. It's just that, not outlandish, but it was just that cool of a show. And having all Alazraqui and everybody, because met him, super awesome guy. Just having all of them back to do this, I'm just so excited for this because I loved it. I on my 360, I'd bought the first season of it, so I'd watch it over and over and over and over and over again. So, bring on Rocko.
It's crazy how this whole nostalgia of 90s things is bringing all these things back. Like, we're getting games remastered, like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy that's coming out, Rocko movie. There's also going to be a Hey Arnold movie this fall. I don't know if you were into Hey Arnold or not, but
I love the football head.
Move it, football head. And then there's supposed to be some movie sometime in the future where they bring back like Rocko, the Angry Beavers.
Angry Beavers.
I think Rugrats and several other 90s Nickelodeon cartoons, and they're all going to be in the same movie and all meet each other for the first time.
See, why couldn't we do that back in the 90s?
I have no idea.
It's such a great idea. I love the Angry Beavers.
Angry Beavers.
Actually, my watching TV as a child helped our trivia team a few weeks ago. They were talking about, like, there are two, and they talked about the show a little bit, and they asked the question of, they said one of their names, and I was like, they were like, it's this. I'm like, guys, it's like I'm telling you. It's like, it's Angry Beavers. They're like, are you sure? I was like, I'm 100% sure. It's like, I don't know how sure this guy is saying the another answer. And they were like, all right, they put it in. And I was like, you doubted me. But I got it right.
Was it the name of the Angry Beavers?
No, it was just that. Like, what movie? What cartoon was this? And they kind of spat out a few details that know, it could have been something else. But I was like, no, it's like it's Angry Beavers.
Yeah, but this whole Rocko thing, this was a show that I actually even my mom watched with me. Like our favorite episode. I don't know if you remember this one, but it was Rocko was like broke, had no money, and needed food. And at the local grocery store, they had a 99.9% off sale of everything in the store. So he grabs Spunky, goes to the supermarket, gets all his stuff, but things keep happening to delay him getting to the checkout. And Filbert is the checkout clerk. And right before he hits, the final total button or whatever you call it, it hits noon because that's when the sale ends. And it goes to like an unreal amount of money. And Rocko just loses his mind and just goes off on Filbert. And he's like, that'll be $1.50, please. And he changes the total. So he got all this food for like really cheap.
I do remember that episode vaguely. But I mean, there's tons of just great episodes from that show. Mm-hmm. Happy they're bringing it back, and I couldn't think of a better way to bring it back.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll lead to coming back as like a full-time show.
Yeah.
But even just bringing it back as a movie, I think is really cool because that'll be something that I'll make it a point to watch.
Definitely.
Because I was even going back, right around Pensacon and watching some of the old episodes, and it's like, this was a really good show.
It was. I think it was ahead of its time, too, with a lot of things.
Yeah, it's definitely on my top 5 list as far as favorite cartoons go. But speaking of other shows, you and I finally saw the season 5 finale of Arrow.
Hey, kid.
Oh, my God.
Manu.
When that happened, I mean, it's no spoiler that Manu Bennett came back as Deathstroke.
Yeah,
that was announced very publicly. But the episode before the finale, when Oliver goes back to Lee and you see him.
On. Spoilers are coming.
Yes.
So just if you don't want to hear anything about Arrow, just
fast forward like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes back to Lee and you. As soon as he's in that prison area, I'm like,
oh God, oh God, oh God.
And then he says, I need your help. And it cuts to inside the cell and you see him, like his head's turned. And then he turns, faces the camera. I'm like,
I was curious because whenever we had talked about it previously that he was coming on the show, I'm like, in what aspect is it going to be? Flashback or is it going to be like, what is it? Because I didn't go in and didn't search for it because I wanted to be surprised. Boy, was I teaming up to fight the group of killers that Talia and all them had put together.
Talia, Prometheus, Captain Boomerang.
I mean, just awesome ragtag group. Just coming and the battles and everything were really cool. I mean, it was just I couldn't think of a better way to end that season except for the gigantic cliffhanger they left us with. And dear God, I'm not.
There
a fan.
was a cliffhanger.
I'm not a fan.
Why are you not a fan?
I'm scared.
Uncertainty. There's going to be some casualties, I think.
There has to be.
And again, spoilers, if you're still watching. I have an idea of who I think is going to die. I think is going to be two people. I think it will be William's mom, because I think that would actually make for a really good dynamic if Oliver has to raise his son, who knows he's the Green Arrow now.
Yeah.
So they can't really do that reveal during season 6. I got a feeling the other one might be Curtis.
It could be Diggle.
That would be pretty ballsy if they killed off Diggle.
It
would be really ballsy if they killed off Felicity. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I think those two are the safest ones out of all of them.
I could see 2 casualties, and then one might be like permanently affected by it.
I think Curtis permanently affected, and I think because they're putting so much emphasis on Mad Dog getting his life together with his daughter and everything like that, I think Mad Dog dies.
I actually really like him.
I do too.
I liked the new team.
Because he's the kid from Coach Carter that gave him all the issues.
And I miss Ragman.
I do too. I liked him a lot.
He needs to get his powers back so he can come back.
Just hit him with another nuclear bomb or something.
Yeah. It was really, really good. I truly think that was the... I might be a little crazy saying this, but I feel like that was the best Arrow episode, like, in its run.
I feel the same way. It's everything that you wanted in a season finale. It was, perfect runtime. Everything just happened beautifully. Oliver being just completely desperate that he's having to get villains to help him.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was just one gut punch after another.
Yeah.
It was like season 2 in a way, but to me, season 2 was like, okay, this episode has a big gut punch. Then the next one, another big one happens.
Yep.
This was just several in a row. You had Malcolm be killed off, which I wasn't a fan of how they did that. I thought it was a little too random.
The mine, yeah.
Yeah. I just felt like that was kind of like they were doing it to try and get shock value. Like, I got him sacrificing himself to save Thea. But
speaking of Malcolm Merlin, future Pensacon guest coming up.
Hopefully by the end of Pensacon, I can say former Derek Diamond Experience guest, John Barrowman.
But I would love nothing more than to have him be a part of this network.
That would be awesome. Really nice guy.
Oh,
I met him at Heroes and Villains Fan Fest in Atlanta back in November. Super nice guy. The complete opposite of his Malcolm Merlin persona.
Yeah, because he's been on Doctor Who, and he's really cool on Who. He's been on a lot of things. Torchwood.
Yeah. Can't wait to meet him.
I know.
But I wasn't a fan of how they killed off his character. But then you had the flashback showing him fighting. I kept calling him, I know his name was like Constantine something, but I kept calling him Ivan Drago.
Konstantin Kovar.
Yeah, Kovar, yeah. But it was Dolph Lundgren who was playing the flashback villain, basically. Yeah. You had the fight with him, and then it would cut to the fight with Prometheus. And you get to see how Oliver got off the island finally. So I'm curious as to what they're going to do with the flashbacks in season 6 as well.
Because we're done with them.
Yeah.
I think we're done with flashbacks from here on out. I know that's a huge part of the show, but there's really nothing to flash back to unless they go to childhood, which would make no sense.
No. I don't know. I could see them maybe doing, like, if a certain character is being highlighted in that episode, I could see maybe using flashbacks to flesh out a little more backstory.
Maybe.
But who knows?
Yeah, we'll just have to see what the future holds with Arrow.
And then, of course, the cliffhanger at the end, Oliver's on the boat with Prometheus and his son. Prometheus kills himself, which sets off a huge chain reaction of explosives. The island basically blows up.
Yeah, so there's no more Lee and you.
No. And then Oliver just has to stand and watch as it happens, and that's how Arrow ends.
You know what I just realized? I know for a fact there's going to be one death, but it does not get mentioned.
What?
The Argus guard. He will not be mentioned. He'll be the unsung hero.
R.I.P. Now, I know you haven't seen it yet, but I finished Flash today.
I need to
that has a pretty big cliffhanger, too. I would say I don't think it's as big as the Arrow one, but
it's pretty big.
It's pretty close, yeah. The last 2 episodes of Flash are really good.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but next season's not going to have a super fast villain. It's going
Correct. Which I think is a good thing.
I was about to say, because we've had Eobard, we've had
Zoom, and now Savitar.
I think we're ready to mix it up a little bit. Because, I mean, you look, I think his name's like Mirror Man, Captain Cold, were all, villains that in some way affected the Flash. So, I mean, you don't have to have someone rivaling Flash with speed.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the shows can't get back soon enough, and
no.
And soon I'm gonna watch Legends season 2.
Legends season 2, probably it's definitely my favorite season out of Legends. First season, we got to hunt Vandal Savage. We got tired of that, but one of the big things that I truly enjoyed about that show was Tolkien. We had George Lucas, and we just had some of the most probably, I did say that one of the episodes of Legends was my favorite CW episode ever, but Arrow had to go and change that. But it's definitely a top 3 favorite episode in Legends season 2. So it's the Civil War one. It's touching moments. A lot of really good acting. It's always so awesome to see. The beginning of all the CW shows where the acting is just garbage. But you see them all evolve as actors.
Stephen Amell is way better than he was in season 1. Season 1 was a little rough as far as
acting goes, but everything else is really good. But acting, first season of Supergirl was rough. Love season 2 of Supergirl. I know y'all probably won't ever get into it, but it is good, I promise.
I actually liked her in the Flash musical.
Yeah.
It was a good episode.
She's a good actress. Supergirl is a really good show. A lot of people just didn't give it a chance because the first season was a stretch to get through.
Yeah.
Had its ups and downs.
Yeah. Well, before we move on with the news, we have to talk about books.
Lots of books.
For you, the listeners of the Nerd Cave podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/nerdcave to give you the opportunity to check out their service. They have a lot of books, over 180,000.
And there's so many great books, whether you're a Star Wars fan, whether you're a Mass Effect fan, Gears of War, Halo, Lord of the Rings. I mean, if it's a book that you like, Audible has it. And like I said, if you're not sure, if you're on the fence about audiobooks, I love them. I don't have as much time as I did to sit down and read an entire book. But with my job and my commute, I can squeeze in a good 15 minutes of listening to an audiobook. If you want to just try it out, like Derek said, just go to the website, use that URL, get you a free one just to try it out. I love them, and audiobooks I feel like are the way to go. Like I said, I would love to be able to sit down and read a book, but time doesn't permit, and this is the next best thing.
Absolutely. If you're on the go like we are, Audible is a great way to continue to be able to read without having that, having to sit down and actually read a book.
Yeah.
And they have everything for every genre. If you like fiction, nonfiction, science fiction, mysteries, romance, they have every genre for every listener. And the cool thing is, even if you don't like Audible, you can still keep the free book.
Yeah.
It's yours forever. So to do that, just go to audibletrial.com/nerdcave. Again, that's audibletrial.com/nerdcave for your free audiobook. But let's move on to some more movie news. We all love Transformers.
Early ones.
I like the first one. The second one was okay. And from there, they just lost me.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had Transformers The Last Night, which is the 5th installment of the franchise, came out this past week. 6 months ago, most box office pundits would have guessed that Transformers The Last Night would be a $1 billion hit. However, its North American debut points to some serious audience fatigue. So it opened on Wednesday.
Ooh, that's not a good number.
With a disappointing $15.2 $28.7 million. Dark of the Moon made $37 million, and Revenge of the Fallen made $62. So it basically had an over 50% drop from the previous installment. Tracking pointed to a 5-day haul of 70 to 75 million, a huge dip from Transformers Age of Extinction's $100 million haul, but Wednesday's number signals a disappointing 65 million. So, not doing very well in theaters, not doing very well
anywhere.
Yeah, like in people's opinions.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is? Do you think it's audience fatigue? Do you think the franchise is just not that good? Is it time to reboot it, do something else with it?
I think because a lot of people talking about Marvel fatigue, superhero fatigue. I don't think we're at that moment, at that part yet. But when it comes to Transformers, you're not really getting new things with them. I mean, it's robots trying to take over the world. This time, Optimus is kind of brought back as a villain. But, I mean, I just feel like you're getting really fatigued with this. I think, like you said earlier, talking about the animation, rebooted as, like, the animated series or, like, something. But something has to change. I really hope they're not that, because there's supposed to be more than this, I believe. Isn't there, or is this the last one? I can't remember. I've literally have not kept up with this. Like, I have not seen the one last night. I have not seen the one before that.
I think the franchise should be rebooted. Like, I don't think Transformers should just go away, period.
No.
I think it needs to be rebooted, but needs to go away for a few years.
Yeah. Let us want it to come back. Don't keep forcing it down our throats.
No Michael Bay. And I would do like a CG animation or like a traditional style animation like the old cartoon. Because I think like some of the effects are great, but I feel like Transformers doesn't work as well in live action as it would in animation.
I agree.
And I was never really a Transformers fan growing up. Like, I was excited for the original movie when it came out because I knew how big of a franchise Transformers is. Yeah. So I was like, sure, I'll go support the cause. And the first one, I thought it was actually pretty good.
Now, I loved, like, growing up, I watched every one of the cartoons. I had the toys. As an adult, I'm still playing a Transformers game. Mm-hmm. But as someone who's loved the franchise and everything like that, these last 3 movies have just been
Yeah.
Worse than It's meh.
Meh.
So I think that they just need to kind of chill for a few years and just kind of reboot it with different cast and everything like that. I think a lot of the issue was getting rid of Shia LaBeouf, which is we apparently know, like, in this new movie they tell us why he left.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Oh.
Like, obviously I haven't seen it, but I've heard it. I'm going to try to watch the 4th one sometime this week so I can watch the new one. I'm not watching it in theaters. I'm going to wait for it to come out on DVD or Redbox or something.
Yeah.
But
I saw the one before that was Mark Wahlberg's first.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Then I have seen that one. They just keep getting worse to me with each installment.
I agree.
But I thought them, bringing the Dinobots in was pretty cool. But,
yeah.
And like I said, some of the effects are great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Michael Bay is a great visual director, but he's not a good director.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Story,
Yeah.
Explosions, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are...
should be left dead.
Yes. Fox is reportedly working on yet another reboot of the Fantastic Four.
Just let it be. Just stop.
It seems Fox is determined to keep those Fantastic Four film rights for Marvel, as a fresh rumor insinuates that the studio is working on a new cinematic take for Marvel's first family. So, long story short, Fox wants to do another Fantastic Four film. And even recently, they were saying they were going to make a sequel to that atrocity that was...
I still haven't seen it.
Fanforstic, as I like to call it. Worst superhero movie ever made.
Yeah.
Like, worse than Batman and Robin.
Holy rusted metals, Batman.
It's that bad. So they want to do, if this rumor is true, they want to do like a family-friendly take on the Fantastic Four and make it something like The Incredibles. Now, I'm not against Fantastic Four being a more family-friendly film. I just have no faith in Fox to do it.
Fox craps on everything. Like, I feel like, Ben and Reed and all of them are just kind of like laying on the ground, like half passed out, and Fox has a stick, and they're like, hey, let's do something. Wake up, get up. Keeps poking a stick at them.
Hey, we need you again.
And I'm just like, let them sleep. They need a break. Fox, you're killing them. Like, literally, you're sapping the love that everybody has for the Fantastic Four, and you're sapping it out. You're just pulling it out. You're breaking our hearts. I love the Fantastic Four. Great story. Go to space, get affected, come back down, superpowers. I mean, great villains.
Love Dr. Doom.
Such potential. Just give it to somebody who's not an idiot, Fox.
Now, the first two movies, did you like those?
Yes and no. It had its moments that I was like, this is really cool. I think what got it, because for me, what I liked about it was one of your first superhero movies that we got.
It was during that first major wave.
Yeah. And so we were like, oh, yeah, superheroes on the big screen. And once that kind of faded off, we're just like, oh, this is just a big rolling turd. It had, like I said, it had its moments of being, fun and good, but there was just some moments you're just like, oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't hate the first one. The second one was not very good.
No.
And I love the Silver Surfer. I was excited to see him. They announced, hey, Lawrence Fishburne's going to be the voice. Great.
Yeah.
Love it. But the movie was executed very poorly.
Yeah.
And you made Galactus a giant cloud.
Don't get me started.
Granted, having Galactus as a giant humanoid would be kind of tough to pull off, but it's better than a cloud.
It's what he is.
Yeah. I mean, I wish Fantastic Four was owned by Marvel Studios, because Galactus would be the perfect Avengers villain.
Oh, I agree.
Like, that would be one where Fantastic Four would have to call up, like, Iron Man, Thor, like, all right, guys, we need your help on this one.
Yeah, like, I cannot remember which one it was. I think it was an animated series that I watched with the Avengers where, he was attacking planets, like, near Earth, and Iron Man became, like, the Silver Surfer to try to deter him. And this was the first time that we've seen, because Star-Lord and the Guardians, like, were fighting the Avengers because they were trying to kill Iron Man, and obviously the Avengers were trying to save him, and because nobody knew what Stark was doing, and finally they all teamed up, and like he was just trying to kill or hurt Galactus instead. So I mean, I think it would be great for the Avengers to be able to do that, and that could be a crossover for the Guardians too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, I wish Fox didn't have the rights to that at all.
Yeah, same here. Which, speaking of Avengers, last bit of movie news. This is sad. I feel like we've had a lot of bad news this week. So, Chris Evans previously teased that Avengers 4 is likely his last outing in the MCU as Captain America, but Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has now implied that Evans might not be alone. Of course, Feige didn't say who would be saying goodbye to the MCU in Avengers Infinity War and or Avengers 4, but he did confirm that the long-teased confrontation with Thanos will have some long-lasting fallout, namely that some familiar faces and characters that have been there from the beginning are likely not going to be brought back when their contract expires. When Joe Blow specifically asked if Feige was referring to Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., he gave a typical Feige-like answer. We have another 2 years of hard work to even finish these movies, and they have a lot of hard work to do, so that's all we're thinking about is completing those and delivering on the promise of those. Where it goes beyond that, we'll see. Perhaps these characters will simply be retiring rather than going the way of Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver. It's really anyone's guess at this point, however, that probably won't stop the Marvel fandom from speculating. Now, this has been rumored for a while, that Infinity War is basically the culmination of this 10 years of building up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think we'd all be crazy to think that
everybody's coming back.
Yes. So who could you see leaving?
I definitely can see Chris Evans because Falcon has come, into the universe now, and in the comics, the Falcon took over the mantle of Captain America at times, and you were talking about Robert Downey Jr. That's also one that could, because we don't really know who would take his place.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Chris Evans is probably peacing out after this one. I feel like
I could see him being killed off in Infinity War.
Yeah, that would be probably one of the only ways. Or, he's just so tired of seeing S.H.I.E.L.D. do things that they do, and, the backlash from the, the Accord meeting?
Yeah,
from
the Accords.
Yeah. That could still have some lingering effects on, and I could see him either, being killed off or just walking away.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a possibility. I think Robert Downey Jr. leaving is a very real possibility. I think Mark Ruffalo will stay because he's used kind of sparingly as the Hulk, so I could see him being like, oh, I'll keep doing it. I can see them basically having like a new phase of Avengers. Like I could see Doctor Strange being the new Iron Man, like the one who holds everybody together. Because to me, Robert Downey Jr. is the glue that holds all of them together.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is very important. I'm not going to discount that, but I feel like it started with Iron Man, and since then he's been what's held this whole thing together. Yeah. So it would be very different if he was not involved. And I know I personally wouldn't enjoy it as much. I love that they're bringing in Doctor Strange. Love they brought in Spider-Man, which that's already getting really good reviews. They're saying that it's the best Spider-Man movie ever made, which I've said it's not really that hard to do because to me more of them have been not good than good.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3, man. What you talking about?
Yeah. But no, I've heard great things about Spider-Man Homecoming. I
want to see it.
Yeah. So, you think Hemsworth's going to stick around?
Yeah, I think he's sticking around. He's making way too much money being Thor, and all the girls love him.
Yeah.
Me included.
He is a very handsome man.
He is. I'm very sad that the locks are gone in the new one. But I cannot wait for the new Thor movie to just kind of see, my favorite comic book hero and one of my favorite actors on the same screen. I'm talking about you, Jeff Goldblum. I know you watch just because I love you so much.
I'm excited for Ragnarok. I think it's going to be really good.
So good.
If Evans does leave and they want to recast Captain America, who would be a great choice? Not Vin Diesel.
Jeff Goldblum.
Not Jeff Goldblum. Mr. Thomas Brady.
Ew. Ew. Why would you say
it? He looks like Captain America, like he could be Captain America.
Captain Douchebag, maybe.
Now, granted, I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like the Patriots because they keep the Steelers from making the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I hate the Pats.
But Tom Brady's a handsome man.
He is. Only man I know that can wear Uggs and can get away with it. Justice, you cannot.
Well, it's just that cleft he has in his chin. I feel like I could just take a nap in that thing.
I know.
Let's close out with some game news. I know you've been really big into Pokemon Go since it started, and they did a pretty big update. So tell us about it.
They kind of revamped the gyms and everything like that. Me and Holly have been, hitting, and Jake and our friend Chris have been hitting it pretty hard. They kind of made it where gyms are also Pokestops now. You can spin them and get Pokeballs, revives, potions, everything. But there are events with it now. You can have, a Tyranitar, a Gyarados. There's tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is your easier one. Like I fought 2 Magikarps as an event boss. They're super easy, but you get different rewards for beating them. Like you can get a rare candy, which gives you a candy for any Pokemon that you need. So if you're one away on a Gyarados, you can use the rare candy and get a candy for said Gyarados. It's actually, I know, me being over the Pokemon Go Pensacola, it has completely and 100% revitalized our page, because there was so much, people talking about wanting to have a place where we can communicate better. I went on Discord and created us our own server for Pokemon Go Pensacola, and that thing's just blowing up too. So it's very good to see everybody back into the community. Going down to Palafox today, we're seeing people playing. We went to Milton's, more people are playing. And this is such a great game because you're being healthy, you're exercising, but you're also having fun with people. And when you get into an event, you have 180 seconds. And you get a code. It could be like 2 Blastoise and a Squirtle. Like, you put that code in, and you group up with people there. I can't remember how many people are in a group, but you go and you attack that boss, because tier 1 and 2 you can typically do by yourself, but your tier 3 and your tier 4s you need a lot of people. Because I tried taking on a Blastoise by myself. I had 6 Pokemon, 5 were electrics, and they had high CP. And I barely took his health down that much.
Wow.
So, Niantic, y'all are doing a great job with this update. Wished it would have came out sooner, because I feel like with it being a year late, if you would have put it out way earlier, I think you would still be having ungodly success. Because that first little bit that it came out,
it was unreal.
Yeah. And if they would have stuck with it and kind of got these updates out sooner, excuse me, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
They would still be doing really good. But this is bringing some of the people who haven't played in a while back, because it gives us bosses to play with. I know Marshall, got the game back, and he's talking about playing. So, trying to talk some other people into getting back into the swing of things. The only thing is, we got to get whoever hasn't played, we got to get them leveled up, because you got to be 25 to participate in events. And
I'm definitely not at 25.
But with the lucky eggs, catching tons of Pidgeys, like, there's ways you can work to level up super quick. We got Holly up from 22 to 23 today, so we just have 2 more levels, and she has 2 lucky eggs that we're going to pop sometime this week and get her up to 25, so we can have some more people doing events. And with the end of this, I say go Mystic. Represent.
I am Team Mystic as well.
I know.
No, I haven't downloaded the new update yet, but I'm excited to try to get back into it.
Yeah.
That initial wave was one of the funnest video game experiences I've ever had, because people who weren't even gamers but grew up playing Pokemon, they would get the game, and we would walk to lunch just so we could get
steps
in, hatch eggs, find Pokemon, all that stuff.
And I mean, I've made friends through this game. Obviously, Holly and I met through this game. I mean, she wrote Niantic an email about our story and how we met and everything, and then they were like, they emailed back to her and saying, "That's awesome. I'm glad that this happened." He's like, "I'm sharing your story with our people."
Nice.
So I mean, it's really cool. Great game. It seems like great people behind it. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Legendaries will be coming soon.
I can't wait.
Too.
Now that my friend will get me back into it.
I about to say you might be needing to level up, my friend.
Yeah. Last bit of news for this week. This is from TheVerge.com. Sega launches free retro game collection for iPhone and Android. Sega is bringing some of its best retro games to your smartphone. Today, the company announced a new service called Sega Forever, which is essentially a lineup of classic games from the company that will be available on both iOS and Android. Each game will be available for free. You can pay $1.99 to turn off ads, and will include modern features like cloud saves, Bluetooth control support, and online leaderboards. At launch, 5 Sega Genesis games will be available, including Sonic the Hedgehog,
I figured,
Comic Zone, Altered Beast, Kid Chameleon, and Phantasy Star 2. See, developer says that following the launch of the first 5 games, additional titles will be added to the collection every 2 weeks.
You gotta have Battletoads in it.
Yeah. I never played Battletoads.
It was fun. Very interesting. I got to play it when the Rare Replay came out. Very interesting game style. And I love these, Sega coming back and bringing in some of the big games of like the 90s. And
yeah. I mean, the way I look at it, it's free.
Yeah.
So you really have no excuse to not do it. I mean, I'll download the original Sonic.
Yeah, I'll see what games they have because I loved my Sega.
Yeah. Sega's... I mean, I was always a Nintendo kid, obviously, but I enjoyed Sega for what it was. I really loved the Sonic franchise.
After my Sega, because I had the OG Nintendo, I had the Nintendo 64, I had the NES, and like sometime in between there, I got a Sega and played it, and that's, went all the way up. I think I stopped at the Wii. I didn't get a Wii U.
A lot of people didn't.
Yeah. But, I've had PlayStations and everything, but I've always loved my Nintendo, but I've always loved Sega.
Yeah.
Except for Sonic. But, I'm just playing. I used to love playing Sonic. I just hated when you used them.
My using him in Smash Brothers caused a group of people to despise Sonic.
Yeah. Douchebag.
Speaking of Sonic, time to move into Facebook questions. This question comes from our good friend, Mr. Adam Gumbert. 2 Sonic games this year. As a host of a retro podcast, does anyone really care? Why won't Sonic die? I feel like that's a little harsh.
Gumby is he's a harsh soul.
He is a cruel, cruel vixen.
Now, I'm excited for a Sonic game to come out. Yeah, I may hate going up against him in Smash, but the games have always been fun, super enjoyable. Not so much as they're puzzles, but they are just get the level done as fast as you can, try to get as many rings as you can, and kill and run into things. So fun. I'm kind of glad that they're bringing it back. I don't think Sonic will ever die because you'll be hard pressed to find people that don't know who that speedy little blue hedgehog is.
Yeah. Sonic will never die.
Never got that, Gumby.
But no, the 2 games that are coming out this year, I don't know if you know about them, but one is called Sonic Mania. That comes out, I think, in August. That's going to be going back to the old 2D style, like the Sega Genesis games. It actually has remakes of some of the old levels plus new ones. And you can play as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles.
I always liked the level that had like the purple water that you had to keep going. And
Chemical Plant Zone, yep. That was from Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, that was the scary level. I always had such anxiety when it came to that level.
Especially when you hear that countdown when you're about to drown.
I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
That one comes out in August, and then we have Sonic Forces, which is it's a 3D game, but the newer 3D games have mixed in a little bit of the 2D gameplay style. Yeah. I don't know if you ever played Sonic Generations.
I didn't.
That had you would go back and play through old Sonic levels, as far back as the original game up to some of the newer ones, and you would play as both modern and classic Sonic, whereas classic Sonic would be the classic 2D style, and modern Sonic would be like the newer games.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Sonic Forces is going to be.
Okay.
So I'm excited for both. I'm a little more excited about Sonic Mania just because it's like the old games, but I'm going to get both.
Yeah.
I will probably get them both for the Switch if they're coming out for this. Well, I know Sonic Mania, I think, is. I don't know about Forces.
That'd be a good one to get it on.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He also says, would you buy these? I think I might.
Are they the Sonic shoes?
Oh, my God. I will get these.
Oh, yeah. If you're a Sonic fan, you're going to want them. They're the Sonic shoes.
Yeah. You can go on the Facebook page and look, but it's basically replica of Sonic shoes.
Ugh.
I would totally get these
in
a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Funny story from when I was a kid. I had this pair of just plain white slip-on shoes. This was around the time Sonic 2 came out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have shoes like Sonic, but obviously there were none to be found. So I took a red crayon and colored my shoes except for the white line. And my mom was very upset at me.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. No, I'll look those up. I'll definitely get those. Last question from Jeremy Henderson. A game development recently commented that the PS4 was similar to a 5-year-old PC and was holding the game industry back from breaking new and exciting ground. Microsoft just announced a more powerful Xbox, and Nintendo ditched the Wii U before the end of its cycle and brought forth the Switch a few years later. Console gamers typically adopt the format because it is simple and less expensive when compared to PC. Are older consoles close to the end of their life cycle holding games back? Should developers revisit the typical 5 to 7 year life of consoles? Now, Zach replied, when your console sells 60 million and you have a model that can run higher end, there really isn't a reason to end your console cycle from a business standpoint. Microsoft is trying to make up ground that they lost during the DMR and always online pre-launch days with the Xbox One X. It's $500 compared to the $400 PS4 Pro. Just my thoughts. Smiley face.
Now, I 100% agree with what Zach is saying. I am a Microsoft fanboy / apologist. So, PS4 was way ahead of its time when it came out. Like Zach said, it was able to run things much better, way better than the Xbox did. The Xbox had to put a new system out. Yeah, it's more powerful than the PlayStation. I mean, the specs, don't lie. But Microsoft had to put that out because they were just getting demolished by Sony. So, I mean, I don't think the PlayStation is holding everything back. I think everybody's just catching up with Sony. Yeah, like I said, the system, the Xbox One X is better than the PlayStation, but it's still not like leaps and bounds that the PlayStation is now holding it back. I think Xbox just kind of leveled the playing field with it because PlayStation was just so far ahead when it came out. So I don't think they have to do anything.
I completely agree. You got to look at it from a business standpoint. The PS4 is still selling well. It's sold extremely well, and it's still a high-end system. Mm-hmm. So why not keep it going?
I agree.
The thing with Nintendo, they stopped producing the Wii U early to do the Switch, but that's because the Wii U was such a huge failure that they had to put out something new.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I think the Switch, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think the Switch has been generally well received and it's been doing well.
Now you look at obviously post 360 and PS3. PS4, like Zach has said, it sold, what was it, 60 million?
60 million, yes.
60 million systems. How many did the Wii U sell? Nah, they sold, but people were so disappointed.
It was, I remember the numbers were laughable.
Yeah. So why would PlayStation have to end its cycle? And there's really no comparison to the Wii U and the PS4 because the PS4 was well received, well ahead of its time, and the Wii U was just not good. Yeah. So I think that PS4 needs to ride what they've built, just kind of ride it out and see where it's going because there's no need in ending a cycle. Everything's still playing the same. I think we're going to be where we're at with Xbox One and the PS4 and the Switch. I think we can ride these for a few more years.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Just my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, that does it for questions. That does it for news. Is there anything you wanted to talk about before we call this an episode?
No, just one more time. We wanted to say congrats to Zach and Amy. Enjoy Vancouver. We love you guys and wish you the best.
Absolutely. You can check us out on social media. We're on Facebook at Nerd Cave Network. Also, our community page is at Nerd Cave. Just search for Nerd Cave in that little bar you see on the top of your Facebook page. We have all kinds of cool conversations that go on throughout the week. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Nerd Cave Vids. You can check out all of our other podcasts we have here on the Nerd Cave Network. We have Nerd Cave Retro on Mondays, the Derek Diamond Experience on Tuesdays, Fantasy Football Nerds on Wednesdays for during football season. Thursdays, we have our wrestling show, Battle of the Brands. Friday is this show, which you can get early on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdcave.
Yeah.
You can check out all our cool tiers. You get access to exclusive episodes that we do monthly, early access to this show, and many other great rewards. So just go to patreon.com/nerdcave.
And wherever you're listening to this, whether it's podcast or YouTube, if you're doing a podcast, please go and leave us a review. I mean, that goes a long way in helping us reach other people who, might be interested in what we're talking about. If you're, watching this on YouTube, hit the like, comment, interact with us, because we love talking to you guys. And while you're at it, share it, because you don't know, who on your friends list might enjoy this also. So, just trying to get the word out, because we like, meeting new people. We like talking to you about, all of nerd culture. So, just like I said, hit that like, subscribe, and, leave us a review.
And all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else, sir?
I am done.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another fantastic episode of the Nerd Cave podcast. This has been Derek.
And Robbie.
Have a week.